The dusty air of Dry Creek hung thick with tension as the crowd gathered under the scorching Texas sun. The auctioneer's voice cracked like a whip across the yard, echoing against the saloon walls and rattling the hearts of everyone who stood there. They had seen cattle sold, horses traded, even land gambled away. But today was different. Today, a human life was on the stand. A young Comanche woman stood barefoot on the wooden platform, her wrists bound with a thin rope, her dark hair cascading over her shoulders like a shadow. The crowd called her the Comanche Bride, though no man had yet dared to claim her. Her name was Nayeli, and her eyes were fierce, not of fear, but of defiance. She had lost her people, her home, and her freedom, yet she refused to lower her gaze. The auctioneer wiped his sweat and shouted, "A strong woman, fit for ranch work or a home. Who'll start the bid?" Silence. Only the creaking windmill in the distance answered. Some men smirked, others looked away. To them, she was a reminder of the border wars, too dangerous to trust, too proud to break. "Come on now," the auctioneer barked. $50 to start." Still no hand rose. She stood there, the sun burning her skin, the world burning her pride. She didn't want to be bought, but the humiliation of being unwanted cut deeper than any blade. Then, from the back of the crowd, a quiet figure shifted. He was a tall man in a dusty brown hat, his beard trimmed, his shirt worn but clean. No one knew much about him, only that he lived on the edge of town, tending a small ranch no one visited. His name was Samuel Hayes. He had fought in the war, lost his wife, and lived with ghosts ever since. He watched Nayeli, not with pity, but with something deeper, recognition. The crowd whispered as he stepped forward, his boots heavy in the silence. $100, he said, his voice calm but firm. The auctioneer blinked, stunned. 100, do I hear 150? He called, desperate to stir another bid. But none came. The men turned away. The women muttered. And in that moment, Samuel Hayes walked up the steps, cut the rope around Nayeli's wrists, and nodded once. "You're free now," he said softly. The auctioneer's jaw dropped. "She's yours, Mr. Hayes." But Samuel ignored him, tossing the money without a word. He helped Nayeli off the platform, his hand steady, gentle. The crowd watched in silence as the two walked away, an unlikely pair, the quiet rancher and the proud Comanche woman. Behind them the whispers began. "He's gone mad," one said. "She'll kill him before sunrise," muttered another. But Samuel didn't look back. He didn't care what they thought. All he saw was a soul as lost and broken as his own. That night, in the stillness of his ranch house, Nayeli sat by the fire, silent but alert. Samuel poured her a cup of water and spoke quietly. "You don't owe me anything. You can leave come morning if you want." She stared at him, suspicious, confused. "Why?" she finally asked. "Why did you buy me?" He looked into the flames, his eyes distant. "Because no one else saw you as a person." Nayeli didn't reply, but something in her chest, something that had long been buried under anger and loss, flickered to life again. Days turned into weeks, and the rhythm of the ranch became their unspoken language. Nayeli worked hard, breaking horses, tending the fields, moving with strength and grace. Samuel spoke little, but when he did, his words were gentle. Slowly the space between them began to shrink, not in closeness, but in understanding. One evening, as the sunset bled across the horizon, Samuel handed her a small wooden charm. "It was my wife's," he said. "She used to say this brings peace." Nayeli held it carefully, feeling the warmth of his sincerity. For the first time in years she smiled, a small, quiet smile that softened the weight of her heart. But Dry Creek was a cruel town. Whispers grew into rumors and rumors into resentment. One night, a group of men rode to the ranch, drunk, angry, and eager to make Samuel regret what he'd done. "You think you can bring a savage into our town?" one shouted, kicking open the gate. Samuel stood firm on the porch, shotgun in hand. Nayeli stepped beside him, her bow drawn. The leader spat in the dirt. "She don't belong here." Samuel's eyes hardened. "She belongs where she's free, The standoff was tense, lightning crackling across the dark sky. A shot rang out. One of the men fired, missing Samuel by inches. Before another could aim, Nayeli's arrow flew swift and true, striking the man's hat clean off. The shock froze them all. Then slowly they backed away, muttering curses. When silence returned, Samuel turned to Nayeli, his voice rough with emotion. "You didn't have to stay." She looked at him, her eyes glistening in the firelight. "You didn't have to save me." From that night on, they weren't two broken souls anymore. They were something more. In a world divided by fear and hate, they found unity. Samuel taught her to read. She taught him to see the land through her people's eyes. The ranch bloomed again, wildflowers where there once was dust. Months later, the townsfolk came to trade and found Samuel and Nayeli side by side at the market. No one dared whisper anymore. The quiet rancher and the Comanche bride had rewritten what it meant to be free. As the camera fades on the sunset over Dry Creek, a voiceover speaks. Sometimes, the bravest step isn't into battle, it's toward compassion. When the world turns away, one act of courage can change everything. Subscribe now for more powerful Wild West stories of courage, love and redemption.